Hello, it's Musa once again. Here I am testing cards once again for everyone. Yesterday in Discord they suggested I tried Finale of Devastation again after a long time because it's also a finisher on its own. So I actually swapped my Endurance for a Finale of Devastation in the sideboard. And also I have a Fracturing Gas that I want to test again because I see lots of Affinity online and I have been losing hands down to many Affinity decks and I don't like to lose the Affinity. That's it. Let's go to the league and let's see how it went. Round number 1, we are playing first. This is the hand we came for. Almost, actually. I do have to find a way to kill them. I see blue, I see green, I'm happy. I see Emery, I'm not happy. I see Tamiyo, I want to cry. So, you know what's happening. That is a Izzet deck that's also playing Flame of Anno, a card that's very bad for the matchup. So I'm going to try to finish the match as fast as possible. And here we go. Here I made a small mistake. I actually played the creature, the land, sorry, because I wanted to be able to cast with in order to be able to use a Ladamri together with my Lush Portico if needed in order to fix my top deck. But it's a good thing I made this mistake because they were playing Metallic Rebukes. So here we go. We're going to cast a Ladamri and hope that we're going to hit the finisher of the top of the deck. I didn't. And this is the reason I do have to cast the second Ladamri, even though it would mean that it would kill my other Ladamri. It is a legendary, in case you don't know. Because I need to go deep in the deck in order to find the card that I need. They have 2 cards in hand. Even if Tamiyo flips at this point, it's only an Unholy Hit they have in the graveyard, which isn't very bad. They're not attacking with their monk here, which means that they didn't have any other instants or sorceries. So once more, we're going to try to cast the top of the deck. Cauldron, even though I would love to keep you on the top of the deck, I can't. So you're going to the graveyard. Priest of Titania, and there we go. If I untap next turn, we're actually beating them. So let's see how it goes. They do have 4 cards in hand at this point, though, so things are not very, very good. They don't look very good for us. Flame of Anno. This card, together with Wizard, is really bad. So I don't feel very bad because I have 3 Curion Rangers together with the Priest of Titania. And I do not have a Priest of Titania anymore, which only means that I have to see what I have at the top of the deck in order to beat them. All of a sudden, it doesn't look as promising, does it? We're down to 7. Why did it do that? I should have tapped Llanowar, tapped the Lush Portico, untap the Llanowar, put the Nature's Rhythm in the graveyard, and then go on from there. Sometimes I even make myself wonder. So, I mean, they did have a rebuke, but I don't think that the rebuke was the issue here. It was me playing the deck wrong. Let's go to sideboarding. Sideboarding against this deck. I do try different cards. I did bring in my Sanctifier in order to take away all the red cards from the graveyard, Collector Oof, a Force of Vigor, and all the rest. I don't have the combo yet, but I do have a Force of Vigor that I think it's going to be decent in the matchup. In this matchup, though, it's not as good as it would be in an example against Affinity. So I'm keeping my Misty Rainforest up for a very specific reason, as you can understand. I want end of the turn to fetch, go get my Lush Portico, and see how we go from there. The Warmaster is a good top deck, and this is actually what I'm going to keep. Here I decided to go for the kill. Maybe it was a mistake, maybe it wasn't. I thought that the longer the game goes, the worse it is for me. And I don't know, they didn't have 3 mana in order to cast Metallic Rebuke, because they didn't have any creatures or planeswalkers on their side of the battlefield. I knew that they couldn't cast the Metallic Rebuke, and I thought, okay, I have to go for it. The things that the opponent was smarter and they played the deck better, and they actually had fire magic and killed me. I didn't play around the fire magic. I didn't expect it, to be honest. Here we go. I see they do have a Izzet Steel-Cutter in the graveyard. And obviously you're bringing in Drannith Magistrate against them because it stops Emery from casting anything from the graveyard. Izzet Steel-Cutter. I do have 2 Forces of Vigor, which are not as useful as they could be. I'm going to Flame of Honor me, and this is the time to cast both my cards. I see that I drew nothing. I have nothing. My only way out right here was to draw a fetch land or a Temple Garden to play Skyclave Apparition, take away the Emery, and stabilize the board. But I didn't, and I just respect my time way too much to keep on playing for a game that I would lose regardless. So I conceded. Off to a not good start. Let's go to the next one. Game number 2. This time we're playing second. This is almost the hand we came for. I keep 1 land as way too often. I'm too aggressive. I'm gambling way too much, I guess. But it's okay. I had to take my chances. And I see Elegant Palo. This could be both Boros or energy. And it was energy after all. I cast my Devoted Druid, and I'm going to cast my Misty Rainforest, and I'm not going to wait for the Survey land. I'm actually going to cast the Llanowar Elf, because in the very rare case scenario that the opponent does not have anything to kill me with, and they try to kill my Devoted Druid, I will be able to just use the Cauldron or just do anything else I want in order to kill them. But this was not the case. The opponent knew how to play their deck. They played their deck, and they actually going to beat me. I'm going to let you see how they did it. I'm going to fast forward it a bit, and we're going to sideboarding. Sideboarding against Storm. I didn't keep the first hand because it had no way of killing them. I didn't keep the second hand because it had no way of killing them. So I'm actually going for a very aggressive hand. If they have the removal, they have it, meaning prismatic ending. Otherwise, I'm going to kill them on turn 3. Something I want you to be aware of, though, this Cavern of Souls is not going to name elves at this point. It's going to name humans, because our sideboard hate is also humans. So in case they remove the Devoted Druid, and for example, I top deck a Drannith Magistrate, I'm able to play it with this hand. The opponent is playing turn 2 a Ruby Medallion, which means that I'm pretty much okay. I can go Nature's Rhythm, go for my Vizier. You know what's happening, get Azuri and finish them off. I won't show them again the rest of my hand. There's no reason to give them more information that they should know. I'm going to fast forward the rest of it, and we're going to game number 3. Game number 3 against Storm. This time we're playing second. I won't keep the first hand, even though it was very tempting, because I didn't have an actual hate. I don't consider Force of Vigor to be a really good hate against them, because it's like you're gambling. Are they going to draw the Ruby Medallion, or actually they're going to draw Ral? And I don't really like that. If I have it in hand and have a decent hand and a plan to deploy, then yes, I'm going to keep it. The reason I'm cracking Lush Portico in my turn it is because I want to be sure that I can cast my Force of Vigor by pitching Nature's Rhythm. I'm telling you now, if I didn't have anything else on the top of the deck that I liked to pitch for in order to cast my Force of Vigor, I would actually keep the Priest of Titania in hand, wait 1 turn, and cast my Nature's Rhythm that I had in hand in order to get Drannith Magistrate. Drannith Magistrate is exceptional in this matchup because it doesn't allow the opponents to play cards from the exile as well as their graveyard. Here they have 3 cards in hand. They do have mana, but I decided to go for a Skyclave Apparition in order to take Ral, because Ral is good. I prefer to see the Ruby Medallion over Ral, because Ral is a Planeswalker. It has too many abilities. So now we're going to play the Lush Portico, Priest of Titania plus Curian Ranger game. What did the exile? the exiled Norn's chant. I'm okay with that. Still, this doesn't stop me from fixing my top deck with Lash Portico. No, you're not going to cast anything from the graveyard, and you're not going to Orim's chant me. Don't you know you cannot Orim's chant Musa forever? This is going to beat you. So, once again, Lash Portico, fixing my top deck. I don't want the Devoted Druid at this point. I want to win. My attack with swinging with everything takes them down 2-3, and this is almost the game. I do keep the Elves Mystic in hand because, as I said, I'm taking them down to 3. In case they have a mass removal and they manage to remove my whole board, maybe that last Elves Mystic was able to win the game for me. That's it. We're going to the next round. Next round, we're playing second. Now I want you to tell me the name of this deck. I will name it probably Affinity, even though I do believe that it's not Affinity. We will see. Drawing the Devoted Druid there was exceptional. I see that they do have a Sire Sojourner Companion, Sojourners, whatever that name is, Companion, which means that it's Affinity playing Ugin's Labyrinth. I don't know what to tell you. Still, I'm going to deploy my hand. I know that they have no counter spells because they don't have any sources of blue. And I will go on from there. Here I'm going to make a brave choice. I'm not going to crack my Windswept Heath in case they do have a Pithing Needle. Maybe they would name actually the Windswept Heath instead of a Devoted Druid. Here the opponent is deploying their whole hand. It's actually Affinity, the good old classic Affinity that we all know, which was an exceptional matchup for Elves. So don't expect to see much of fight on their side here. The best card they have against us is Whip Flare, and that's what they're going to count on in order to beat me post-board. Here, once again, Vizier, Nature Rhythm, Izuri, you know the drill. Let's go to the next one. At least I do have Fracturing Gust for them now in the sideboard, because I'm testing the card again. Pinnacle Emissary, they're casting everything. 3... nothing. They don't have anything else to cast, which could also mean that they're going to cast a very early Kappa Cannoneer. My hand, though, can deal with an early Kappa Cannoneer, and I'm fine with that. Come on, Musa, are you a psychic? I mean, yeah, it was obvious at this point. Still, my plan remains the same. I'm going to cast my Devoted Druid, and I do have a Wooded Foothills that I will keep on the board in order to scry end of their turn, and see if I can draw my Nature's Rhythm, or maybe my Vizier, or a Chord, or my Finale now that I'm testing the card, in order to finish them. So they didn't cast anything with a Kappa, and they do have 2 cards in hand, which can only mean 2 things. Thing number 1, they have a Metallic Rebuke in hand. Can I play around it at this point as my hand is? No. But they didn't have anything. The opponent very, very well played and cracked their Topmost Crypt in order to take away my graveyard. Unfortunately, they were unlucky, and I do have the winning condition in hand, and they cannot do anything about it, just lose. They got a bit unlucky, let's be honest, and that's it, and we're going to the next one. Round number 4, this is what we came for, Devoted Druid. Plains, when I say Plains, it's very weird, and knowing the meta, I do expect to see Land Destruction, and I was right. They're playing Land Destruction. This deck is horrendous for Elves. It is horrendous. I don't care about having lands most of the time, and I still manage to lose to it. We do have Kyrian Ranger to protect our lands, and I'm still losing to it. So let's see how it goes. Wrath for 1, they're emptying the board. That's what they're doing, as I've said before. First, they're going to remove your creatures. Second, they're going to remove your land. Third, they're going to remove your dignity and your patience and win the game. Second Wrath, everything goes out. What do I want here? I want another land or a 2-drop that creates mana. I drew my priest. I'm happy. I'm going to deploy my whole hand because I am expecting next turn to lose any non-basic that I'm playing. The opponent here made the choice of not casting anything, doing anything with the Demolition Field, which could also mean one thing. They do have a Solitude in hand. At least that's what I believe. And I will try to play around it as much as I can. So I'm tapping for 4 mana. I'm leaving 1 mana. I'm going to go for the Curion Ranger. As you can see, I'm always keeping the cord there because I want that cord to be there as an emergency, as a backup, in order to get my Sylvan Safekeeper, which is another very good way of fighting this matchup. The reason it's very good, apart from protecting your creatures, it can also kill the land they are aiming with the demolition fields or any other of the removal spells. And they won't be able to draw any cards. 5 mana Solitude. First they cast the Solitude, first they target, then you're cording. Lately I've been doing it a little bit wrong. So here we go, and obviously I'm gonna sacrifice my Cavern of Souls because it's the only land that Curion Ranger cannot bounce back to hand. They have 3 cards in hand. Even if they do have another Solitude, I don't think that they're a very good sport because I have Trample, I have Death Touch, and I believe they're dead. Double pump, the opponent realized they're dead, and we're going to sideboarding. I've tried many different formulas against land destruction, Boros land destruction. I tried to sideboard everything. I tried a lot of things, and what I realized that I have to finish the game fast, which means that I have to go for my fastest hands. I bring in some very crucial cards in the matchup. For example, a Sun Cleanser is amazing against them, but I try to keep the speed of the deck, and I try to have as many creatures as possible and threats. Here you see I cast my Curion Ranger first, and then I cast my Devoted Druid. This is because this is what I wanted to land. You're not going to let them get any energy. If they get energy, they're going to wrath you till the end of your existence. Cleansing Wildfire, Curion Ranger is taking care of that. They are not drawing a card. And I want you to understand something. You won't be fetching for basics when you're playing against this deck. I do know that you have white cards in the sideboard that you want to cast. I would rather you keep the Temple Garden in hand if you cannot bounce the Temple Garden back with Curion Ranger and protect it, rather than not playing it. They have more spells and more ways of killing your non-basics with Demolition Fields and the other Field of Ruins that you can handle. You're playing 3 basics, and you have to protect those basics as much as possible. Here, what I am afraid of, I'm afraid of a Wrath of the Skies, and this is why I'm going to get my Sun Cleanser. And once again, I have the backup of Court of Calling in hand. Here, Field of Ruin, useless. They had to tap 2 in order to kill my land. They didn't manage to do it. And here I'm going for the kill. Fast and easy. That's it. Let's go to the next one. Last round. What are we going to face this time? Once more, we're playing second. If anyone comes and tells me that Elves is winning because they're playing first, I will slap them with my own hands. Just kidding. I kept a 1-lander again, and it's Affinity again. And they're playing first. Them playing Skateboard 10-1 means that they don't have a very fast hand, or they're missing just one thing in order to go off. Here the opponent misclicked. It has happened to me too, because they wanted to cast the Engineered Explosives on 1. To be honest, it wouldn't make a difference on this point because they wouldn't be able to crack it. Mishra's Bauble, 2 Mishra's Bauble. This hand smells like Kappa Cannoneer. And it is Kappa Cannoneer. We don't care. End of the turn, we're going to Lush Portico. Perfect draw would be another land at this point. I don't want a Mystic. It does nothing. It doesn't provide anything to the board. Ooh, the second War Master was amazing. So here we're going to play Elf Ball. So whoever likes Elf Ball, hey, this is for you. They have 2 cards in hand. I'm going to cast such a big board, they won't be able to deal with it. 1 Kappa Cannoneer cannot deal with a troop, with a horde of elves. So we're swarming them. So how can they deal with that? I have double War Master, I have triple Priest of Titania, and a Curion Ranger saying, hi, I'm here. They realize, and we're going to sideboarding. Last round, last match. This was not a hand to keep because if they killed my Mystic, I couldn't do anything. I decided to keep this hand. And here I'm very careful. I see a welding jar, so I decide to take both of the threads away. it was an aggressive and a pretty dangerous, let's say, pitch for force of vigor, but I'm trying to slow them down. My hand does nothing on its own. I have to top deck something in order to win. Also, this hand is very vulnerable to whip flare, and I can do nothing about that. And I see that they're blowing their whole hand. So even though I did draw Chord of Calling, I'm not going to do anything. The opponent decided not to. I mean, they couldn't crack anything. I don't know what they have at this point. I'm going to be honest. Safekeeper, I'm keeping that on top because maybe they have a spot removal like a Galvanic Blast in order to kill my Collector Oof. My whole strategy is around Collector Oof at this point because they have emptied their hand. If they draw a Ravager or the Geeks, I'm dead. So this Collector Oof has to stay alive. They still keep one card in hand. What I believe, they probably have a Metallic Rebuke. I don't know what else to think at this point. So they do nothing. I have no idea what they have. They play another land. Maybe they only had a land too. Who knows? But I cannot wait any longer. So end of my turn, I will Chord for 3. I will try to go and get a Zuri and try to finish the game in my turn using the secondary combo of the deck, which is Devoted Druid with Zuri. And that's it. If you stayed until the end of this one, you know what's happening from now on. I'm going to say everything that I have to say while I'm comboing off. If you stayed until the end of this video, thank you very much for watching. As always, in the description box of the video, we'll have all the necessary info in order to play the deck, as well as ways to find me. I would appreciate if you could subscribe to the free Patreon, which I will keep on adding articles as I write them. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.